But the other big number was $6.3 trillion. That's the estimated cost of the immigration reform plan making its way through Congress. Now, not everybody agrees with that. With us now, Derek Morgan, a vice president at the Heritage Foundation, which came up with the numbers, and Alex Nowrasteh, the immigration policy analyst at Cato, who says, no way. Derek, you say the cost of immigration over 50 years will be some $6.3 trillion. How did you come up with those numbers?
Well, let me tell you quickly why we decided this was important. The size and scope of government is much bigger than Heritage or Cato would like. We've gone from a government that in 1935 spent about 3% of its money on transfer payments, that is taking from some Americans and giving it to others. And now we have a government that spends about two-thirds of its money to do that.
Well, you know, Derek, we talk about that all the time on this network. Let's get to immigration and the cost, because your numbers are actually controversial and very interesting.
They are. So we calculated the cost by looking at the 11.5 million approximately unlawful immigrants in the country and looking at, through their lifetime, how much are they going to pay in taxes and how much are they going to receive in government services and benefits. And that's how we came up with that $6.3 trillion number.
So you have to do a lot of extrapolating, right? I mean, you have to make some assumptions there about what happens to these people over time, I would think.
Oh, sure. You have to do that, absolutely. One of the things that makes me most proud of this report is it's nearly 100 pages and goes through in minute detail how we calculated those figures. We even went down to the level of calculating lottery ticket purchases.
Wow.
As an example.
So, Alex, you don't agree. You think these numbers are wrong. Why?
Well, I just want to say to begin that we agree with Heritage that the size and scope of government is enormous, but the way to diminish that is not to build walls around the labor market or to wall ourselves off from the benefits of immigration. And the reason why I think the Heritage study, unfortunately, comes up with an incorrect number is that it massively undercounts the economic benefits of immigration going forward. We know that what immigration does is it literally adds factors of production to GDP, and it makes GDP bigger, it makes tax revenues bigger over the long run, and quite frankly, we need a dynamic model to score this going forward. And unfortunately, this Heritage study, which is very different from their other research, which is excellent, just did not include a dynamic model that did that.
Derek, your response.
Well, Alex is looking at the report, and the report isn't supposed to be an analysis of immigration reform. It is an analysis of amnesty, which we think is unfair, will cost too much, and it will lead to further unlawful immigration in the future as more people come, seeing that amnesty may happen again in the future. So we wanted to focus in on that aspect and look at the fiscal costs of amnesty.
Alex, your response.
Well, what the report does, unfortunately, is it uses a lot of outdated academic research that undercounts the economic benefits of these people being legalized. For instance, according to academic literature, we can expect a 15% increase in the wages of these individuals immediately based just upon being able to work in the legal market. Now, you add into that the ability to work legally with Americans who have different skills in them, and what we get is something that economists call complementary task specialization, where because immigrants and Americans have different skills, we work together in the market rather than compete against each other, and that boosts GDP. And this is sort of the process that we've seen throughout American history. Well, it's a process we're seeing now, and it's a process we're going to see with either legalization by itself or with immigration reform in total.
I don't want to debate immigration. We're not doing that on this show. The show doesn't debate that issue. Derek, respond to the very specific point here made by Alex that maybe you're miscounting how much these people are going to earn.
Well, actually, our study does increase wages immediately following amnesty. But I would challenge Alex. There undoubtedly are places in immigration where we could make changes that would benefit the economy. But amnesty really isn't one of those. These people are already part of the labor force here, and any small increase in their wages would very minusculely affect GDP, and most of the benefits of that would go to the formerly unlawful immigrants themselves. It wouldn't make Americans here lawfully, both native-born and immigrants, better off.
All right. Well, I want to come back to that. I want to come back to that with 2 points. For one point, they make the lowest possible estimation for the increase in wage that is permissible. The real number that a lot of people are coming to now is about 3 times greater. Also, they undercount the ability of these people, once they're legal, to change jobs easier, to work in different industries, to increase their human capital, to fit better into our society, to be able to increase their earnings. I mean, they have an incredibly static and, I must say, pessimistic prediction of how well immigrants will do in the future, basically assuming that
All
the
right.
American dream is dead.
Okay.
And that's just not true.
Derek and Alex, thanks for coming on tonight. Appreciate your analysis. It's interesting stuff, and I know that people are watching those numbers very carefully. Thanks so much.
Thank you very
so
much
much
for
for
having me.
having us.